Have you ever thought or gave consideration to, male and female, young and old, what your life would be like if no one cared enough to stay? No one was there to provide the much needed direction that you needed as you was going through life about the various pitfalls, the minefields, the trip-ups that waited for you if there was no one that cared enough to stay. Give some thought and consideration to that for a few seconds. Also, what would it look like if the average man believed that life was to be lived in a vacuum? He had all the answers. He could figure it out. Didn't need any help. Didn't need anyone to tell him what to do or how to do things. Also, in that same vein, give thought and consideration to the simple fact of what this world would look like if more men that was stable, successful, healthy, had been through the trials and the tests and the temptations, cared enough to pour into others. Think about what kind of impact that would have on this entire universe, humanistically speaking. The results that would come out of the job market, less issues when it comes to criminal activity, more weddings, more children being born in two-parent households, more communication, so on and so forth, simply because someone cared enough to stay and share their life experiences. What they've learned is so imperative to give it to someone else. But in that same token, we know that a lot of people have the mindset that as long as I'm okay, long as my family is good, long as my relatives is good, everything is okay. Me and mine. Get all I can all I get. But the truth and the fact is that as we look and even think about some of the most successful people that you could fathom and think about that are very successful, stable, and are doing well, start with your community and move out, was mentored, was guided, was supported, was shown love, and given tips. And this is where we have to get back to, and this is where we need to be today. With that being said, there's an overwhelming myth that's understood and conveyed in some instances that manhood is supposed to be learned on your own, that you're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be able to figure it out. You're supposed to be tough. No matter what life throws at you, you're not supposed to show vulnerability. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to ask for help. That's a sign of weakness. That's a sign that you don't have it. You don't have the intestinal fortitude to make it. But the new idea, the truth of the fact is that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to ask for help. Hear me well. It is okay to stand on the shoulders of giants that have already done it. Why reinvent the wheel? It's there for the taking. Ask. As I was growing up, I was somewhat prideful because of what I had seen and what I had experienced, that you kind of figure it out. But in that same token and in that same vein, I also grew up in the U.S., southeastern part of the country, where men walked tall, black, white, or other. They were strong. They were representatives for what they believed. They worked hard. Even back in the 60s, they still shared. They reached across the aisle. Each one reached one. And as I was growing up as a youngster, I had to be very careful, because those other men and elders that was in my neighborhood, in my community, if they saw me misbehave or do something wrong, either one or two things. They would correct me and say something personally, or I got a look and I knew it was just going to be a matter of time before that word got to the house, either beat me there or it was going to come by the time I was there. So I had to be careful. In that same token and in that same vein, I was very fortunate to a greater degree. My father loved me and my siblings enough, and my mother, that he cared enough to stay. Large family, 10 of us, 6th grade education, could have easily took off. It's too much for me. Life is too tough. I don't have a lot of money. What am I going to do with this large family? How am I going to survive? But remember the point. He cared enough to stay. So he figured it out. He stood on the shoulders of giants. He asked others. He placed himself in the way. Then he downloaded that to me and my 4 other brothers. So if I had a question, I needed to understand something, didn't figure something out, I had someone that I could go to. And I took the advantage of it. Let me share a story with you. I went to elementary school. From elementary school, went to junior high school. Some may consider that today as being middle school, and on to high school. And during the time when I was in high school, it was a real big deal to become a school bus driver. This huge, big machine that carried some 35, 40 people to a junior or senior in high school. That was a huge deal. Showed you had leadership, responsibility. You was looked at in a different lens. Yes, got to tell the truth about it. Made you just a little bit popular with the opposite sex as well. So I kind of like that. And you got a check every month. My junior and senior year in high school, I got a paycheck every month. So that taught me accountability and responsibility. But before I move forward with that, let me give a little bit of a backdrop. Staying in the vein of caring enough to stay. The written examination that you have to do first prior to becoming a bus driver. I studied real hard for several weeks. Written examination was given. Boom, right out of the chute, I passed with flying colors. No problem. Then it comes for the most interesting part, the actual driving part. That's where I struggled. That's when I had to stand on the shoulders of giants. But there was a part of me that didn't want to ask. I didn't want to tell my brothers or the others in the neighborhood that was school bus drivers prior to me that I was struggling. Round 1 of the bus driver test, no go. Round 2, no go. So I'm down to my 3rd and final opportunity to become a school bus driver. I said, wait a minute. I'm better than this. More than that, I believe I can do this. As a junior in high school. So I did what I should have did initially. I asked my father. who cared enough to stay and was there. For 2 solid weeks, every day I came home, he worked with me about driving, handling, and maneuvering a school bus. My biggest hang-up was to actually back this huge monstrosity thing without looking behind you. You can never take your eyes off the road in front of you. It was all supposed to do everything from looking straight forward ahead. So you had to manipulate your side mirrors as well as your rear view mirrors. And we would drill that, go over that over and over and over and over again until I mastered it. Going up inclines, going down inclines. Learning how to master and take full control. Would that have happened if there was not anybody there that cared enough to stay? It wouldn't have happened. Remember, I was down to my final try. But he cared enough to stay. He taught me. He gave me what I needed. And from that point on, I went on to be, I believe, a fairly good driver. And it taught me a very valuable lesson. Don't think that you have to figure out everything on your own and suffer in silence, struggling, when the help is readily available. All you have to do is ask. Even at my ripe old age today, I'm still not beyond asking coworkers, family members, and other friends about things that I'm dealing with in life that I just don't have the answer. I believe I'm pretty smart. I like to think so anyway, but I'm probably not half as smart as I think I am. But even as smart as I think I am, I still ask. No one person knows it all. No one person can figure it out all. So you have to ask. And as you get, you receive, and you attain, it means nothing if we don't share it with somebody else. Now, having said this, I mentioned briefly about my father, my hero, my cornerstone, the one that impacted my life because he cared enough to stay. If you would like, you can go and read my book, the first book that I had the opportunity to write with my mentor, and you can find out all about it, Men Magnifying Manhood. I go into real detail about the hero and the being there and the love and the firmness that my father shared and gave. Also in my book that I authored, Faith versus Fear, really get into the different things that I just mentioned about sharing and caring. Sharing because you care. And you stayed there to be there for the other ones that would need you. So having said that, as I draw down toward the end of what I want to share today, I want to inspire you and leave with you a few sacred words. Always believe in yourself. Count on yourself. Bet on yourself. Believe that you can do it. Have a can-do attitude coming from a can-do spirit. Not I can't, how? That's the operative question. If you're running into something that you're struggling with, how do I figure this out? How do I accomplish it? And it's probably going to lead you right back to what I was saying. Asking, understanding and recognizing that I don't necessarily know it all. Taking the opportunity to think about where you are, the various impacts, and so on and so forth that is being given to your life and that's impacting your life. Figure out, what am I supposed to do with it? And as you get it, even as youngsters and older individuals, share it with somebody else. So as I leave and I draw this to a close, I challenge each and every one of you this evening under the sound of my voice. Think about what you heard. Think about what's being shared and care enough to stay and to pour into and to share into somebody else's life. If you do that, I believe your life will give you the rewards and give you a satisfaction like you've probably never experienced before. Thank you for your time.